Hello guys, it's John3rd here doing another Bakugan video, this time a Bakugan ranking video on every season of Bakugan. A couple things to note first here, I'm only talking about the products. The show, I'm not counting that. Whatever else outside of the products, I don't care. So, just the products. Second, there are 14 spots on this list. Technically, there are not 14 seasons of Bakugan. I made some, I had some liberties here with how I decided to rank them, so I'm just letting you know that right now. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the actual ranking video so we could just hurry up because it's probably going to be a kind of a long video, I'm assuming, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's get into our first thing to talk about here. Number 14 and the worst season of Bakugan in my opinion is Bakugan 3.0, or Gen 3, whatever you want to call it. The first season of the current generation of Bakugan, basically. So, yeah, this gen is not good. I've said this multiple times at this point, it's not good. So yeah, the Bakugan themselves, I mean, the core Bakugan, I don't like them at all, really. I don't think they look very good. The special attack ones, they look okay, but functionally, the whole spinning thing, it's just stupid. Yeah, the gameplay in this gen, I'm not really talking about gameplay here, but I have to say it does suck. But yeah, like, kind of the fact that they banked on the spinning gimmick for the gameplay is stupid. These Bakugan, again, the special attacks, they look okay, but, like, nothing here is interesting at all. I don't know what the point of this gen even was. It was not good. I heard it's already cancelled, so I think that just shows how bad this gen was. So, yeah, as of now, this is the worst season of Bakugan, in my opinion. Number 13, Bakugan Legends. So Bakugan Legends is an interesting case. It had a lot of reprints, so there weren't really many Bakugan to go off of here. The only ones that you can really go off of are Nova Bakugan, and Nova Bakugan, they're not good. They look okay, they feel okay, but, like, the whole gimmicks that they light up, again, that's just not a good gimmick. It doesn't actively ruin the game, though, so I won't get as mad about it. There's also just not many in general, but yeah. It's a reprint season. Sure, the new Bakugan, the few that there were, I wish they were a bit better, because, again, Nova Bakugan just are not it. But yeah, it's not great. I mean, it exists. You get some reprints out of it. I don't know. It's there. That's all I can really say. It's there in the Bakugan, like the new Bakugan are just very, very whatever. Number 12, Bakugan Armored Alliance. This one might be a bit controversial because I think some people would probably put this at least a couple spots higher above some of the other seasons of the reboot. Me personally, not a fan. I think the core Bakugan here were pretty decent. That's nice. At least in the first half of the season. And then there's, of course, the Ultras, which I think were not very good for the most part. I have Enoch on screen. Enoch is pretty good, but a lot of the other Ultras, not the best. I think they were very much trying to accommodate with Bakugear, and Bakugear, it was not worth it. I'm sorry. Bakugear just, it looked okay, but then when you had off of the Ultras, they looked pretty stupid a lot of the time. Some looked okay, like Enoch here, but yeah, others don't look very good, so not a fan. And also, the whole fusion thing that took over the season, I almost debated on separating Armored Alliance into two halves, but I just opted to keep it the same. Yeah, the fusions, I hated the fusions. Every now and again, you got a really cool looking fusion, but again, that could just be like a normal design, and then there's the other fusions that I don't think looked good at all. The season just felt very messy to me, and the designs, it just felt like they didn't know how to respond to some of the criticisms of Battle Planet, and they addressed some, not others. Fusions, I just don't think were very good in general. So you have a very weird season. I'm putting it above the other two because I do think it was a little bit better overall than those, but it doesn't get any higher for me. Number 11, Bakugan Battle Planet. Yeah, the first season of the reboot. It wasn't great. The Bakugan themselves, I don't think felt very good. They got better over time. Armored Alliance, they were a bit better. Jugon Rising, they were fine enough. The core Bakugan, they looked kind of goofy. Not a fan of that. The Ultras, they looked cool. Some of them actually looked really good. But closing them is an absolute nightmare. The ergonomics were not well thought out. They did fix this in Armored Alliance, but I think they overcorrected to the point where, they didn't look very good. And they also had to accommodate Bakugear, so that wasn't great either, but yeah. Armored Alliance, not Armored Alliance, Battle Planet I think was just better than Armored Alliance because, I mean, I think the Bakugan overall were a little bit better. Also, you didn't have a bunch of stupid stuff happening. You don't have to accommodate for Baku gear. You don't have fusions messing up the line, so it was a bit better, but still nothing too great either. Number 10, Bakugan Mectanium Surge Arc 1. This is one of those liberties I was talking about. I feel like Mectanium Surge is so different between both arcs that I wanted to count them differently. Hell, even the main characters in the show, which I'm not counting, but still, they had different Bakugan. It was like a completely different storyline. It feels too disconnected to me in general, Toyline as well. So I'm counting them differently. Anyway, Arc 1. It was not very good. It was just very, very overloaded. Every Bakugan had to have metal, and I don't like how they did the color schemes very much at all here. Not like Arc 2 was much better, but still. Also, every Bakugan had to have a gimmick, but these gimmicks a lot of times were just not very interesting. Not every Bakugan did, like Titanium Dragonoid here really didn't, but most had to have something else going on, which, why, and they weren't, again, if they were well thought out, that's fine, but they weren't. Also, like, they just had a bunch of stuff crowding the line. Mobile assaults continued into this season. There were those. You had Mectagon, these really stupid action figures. Mectagon Titans, larger, more expensive, and more powerful action figures, because of course. And Bakunano, Battle Gear replacements that were not very good, and they weren't very interesting. They just were there. The season was just an absolute mess, I feel. It's still better than the other ones. I think Legacy as a whole just felt better than the reboot, and also Gen 3. But yeah, this is just too much of a mess, so it's still actually going to be below some of those reboot seasons, but yeah, it's still a little bit higher than some of the other ones. I guess, yeah, this is not a very good season overall. Number 9, Bakugan Evolutions. This was a pretty decent season to Bakugan. One of the better reboot seasons for sure. Like the Bakugan themselves, they had, figured it out to a reasonable extent. They felt pretty good. The core Bakugan, they look pretty nice. But there were no Ultras here. Well, there were, but they were just reprints, which is kind of unfortunate. The new thing were Platinum Bakugan. Platinum Bakugan were just Bakugan with metal in the middle. They were like the same as core Bakugan, they just had metal. I mean, no interesting distribution of the metal, just metal. Great. It was kind of cool. I actually liked having them. They felt better than normal Bakugan, in my opinion, but still, like, it's not overly interesting. I'd rather have Ultras. I mean, I guess, again, I prefer them to cores, but, like, I don't think these were the best things to have. I mean, they were okay, but yeah. You also had Nanogon. Those were fine, I guess. They existed. Sure. I wish there was a little bit more to the season. It definitely felt like they were running out of steam at this point, and you could definitely tell that they were, looking at what happened with Legends. So, yeah, it was okay. It was fine. Again, the Bakugan themselves, they looked cool enough, I would say. So, sure, this is an okay season. Number 8, Bakugan Geogan Rising, my personal favorite season of the reboot. Yeah, it's still not quite top half overall, but it was something. Similar to Evolutions, I feel like the core Bakugan were pretty solid, and again, the Bakugan themselves just felt better at this point, because I did have quality issues with the first couple seasons. However, this season had Ultras, unlike Evolutions. And the Ultras were pretty good. They had some of the more interesting designs, like from Battle Planet, maybe not as crazy, but still pretty good. However, they had more, care with the ergonomics, like what they tried to do with Armored Alliance. It just felt like they found a good balance for these Ultras, and I liked them for it. Geogan themselves were kinda stupid, but they were okay enough, I guess. Sure. Yeah, they were fine, but nothing too crazy. I just think that the Bakugan overall were pretty solid this season, so it gets number 8, but I'm not putting it above anything else here at all. Number 7, Bakugan Mectanium Surge Arc 2. This might be a weird placement for some people. I feel like others would have probably expected this to be lower, but here's the thing. They at least try it here. You had a few types of Bakugan, while they all had to have some kind of gimmick, it was at least better. You had Sky Raiders, which could jump, that was cool, I guess. You had Bakugan Fusions, which were just kind of regular Bakugan, but they had to fuse with each other, but I mean, whatever. You don't have to use the fusions if you don't want to, so you just had some okay Bakugan. Some were not great, others were pretty decent. The fusions ranged from horrid to actually really cool. There's also Sky Raider fusions. Those we don't talk about those. We could just forget those happen, right? Also, Baku mines, or just the one Baku mine, Tremblar, but whatever. Had the whole thing where kind of, if you hit the mine, it'd pop off on the card. That's cool, I guess. Also, Baku Nano weren't a thing anymore. Mobile assaults got replaced by battle suits, which I actually like less, but they're not like way worse or anything. Also, Mechagon Titans weren't really a thing, and Mechagon themselves were toned down pretty heavily. There were not as many. Arc 2, it was a weird time. Maybe putting it this high was a weird decision, but I still feel like it just felt like they were at least trying. And I'd also pair the Europe exclusive Baku blasters, which had like the discs that they like shot out and stuff. Those were kind of interesting. It just felt like they were experimenting with some stuff, and I could at least respect that. Yeah, it didn't pan out. Yes, Bakugan, was canceled after this, but again, they tried some stuff. I could at least say that much. Titanium Surge Arc 1 just felt like really bland, and the stuff that they were doing was just really stupid. Here, they at least try to bring some of the gimmicks and interesting stuff back to the Bakugan, and I can at least appreciate what they tried to do here, if nothing else. Number 6, Bakugan Armors. This is the first of the Japanese exclusive lines, and this was sort of a successor to Bakutech, effectively. So, normally this would be top 3, no questions asked. This would have been right there, with some of the best. However, there's a key issue. This line only has 7 Bakugan. I feel like I can't put it above anything else when there's only 7 Bakugan in the line. Other seasons are at least solid enough, so kind of ends up here because of that. However, this definitely had the makings of a great, season. You had, a few components to these Bakugan. There's kind of the core piece, which, determined the G power. You had soul pieces, just like with Bakutech, but they are made a little bit differently, so not like compatible or anything, but they're cool. Also, you had like the skill arm and attribute arm. Attribute arm determines the attribute, and then the skill arm gives you a special skill, which is very cool. Yeah, Bakugan Armors, it's a very, very cool, although small line of Bakugan. Really wish they would have expanded this more. Could have been a very interesting season, for sure, but again, there's only 7. I don't feel right putting this any higher than it already is. I have problems with every other season below it, so I don't care about putting it this high up, but then everything else above it, yeah, those were all good enough, so I can't put it too much higher, right? Really wish they would have fleshed this out more, because again, this would have been top 3, no questions asked otherwise, but as of right now, I'll just leave it at number 6. Number 5, Bakugan Battle Brawlers. Yep, the first ever season of Bakugan is going to be this high up. It was a start of Bakugan, so I'm giving it a little bit of leeway there, but also the Bakugan themselves, they're just very solid. What else do I say about them? I mean, they're just good. Nothing crazy, they're just good. I probably could have put Armors above this, but I don't know. There's just nothing, well, there's just not a lot of Bakugan and Bakugan Armors, and here there's a lot, and I like them. Nothing really sticks out as being bad. There's some pretty cool designs, so you know what? It's the first season. I'll give it some extra credit. 5th place. Number 4, Bakugan New Vestroya. This has to be the most interesting case in this entire video. I don't think New Vestroya was quite Bakutech level, but this easily should have been 3rd. Assuming Armors is the same. If Armors was better, then this would have been easily just 4th, and yeah, you get the point. Anyway, this easily should have been the best non-Bakutech season, but it wasn't. The Bakugan overall are definitely a step up from Battle Brawlers. I like them quite a bit. A lot of great stuff here. Traps were also introduced. Traps, very solid idea. Attribute changing, figures that are different shapes. Cool. I liked these. However, the problem stems from the lack of Bakugan that they made. Well, they made a lot of Bakugan, but they didn't make the right ones. There's a lot from the show that just did not get made. These were made for some very, very cool toys, but we never got them. They made a bunch of other random crap instead that no one actually cared about. These are much more basic and generic, and yeah, it kind of brings down the line. Had we gotten all those Bakugan from the show, and while yes, in Japan they got 6 exclusives there, which were all really great, I have one on the screen right now, Master Ingram, but had we gotten all of those, and had we gotten the proper new Vestroya that we should have had, this is easily the best non-Bakutech season of Bakugan. No questions asked. That's it. But because we got, a bunch of nonsense and we didn't get that stuff, it's fourth. It's still almost third. It was close, but maybe I'm just bitter and didn't want to give it the satisfaction of having third. I don't know. But for me personally, they dropped the ball too much for me to actually want to put it at third, so it's staying at fourth. Number 3, Bakugan Gundalian Invaders. Yep, this kind of by proxy gets third because, New Vestroya ended up the way it did. But the Bakugan designs here were kind of weird and sometimes experimental. There's a lot of weird stuff here, but you know what? I like the weird designs. And there are also just some really, really great designs here. Just a good time overall. Battle Gear were a really cool idea. While yes, you'd have to have these kind of open spots on the back of Bakugan with pegs on them, they still were able to, work around this and make really cool designs, unlike something, like Armored Alliance. Also, mobile assaults were introduced here. There's only a few, which I was fine with. I didn't like, in Titanium Surge when they were everywhere, but, here, they were limited. They were fine, but yeah. The Bakugan overall here, they just had really cool designs. Some of them had, extra gimmicks and features to them, but I think they actually did well here. Yeah. Just a really good season of Bakugan. And again, because they actually, made the Bakugan this time, it gets third. And to me, aside from Bakutech, it is the best season of Bakugan. So it stands like that. And again, had New Vestroya actually been made correctly, this would not have been the best season, but it wasn't, so here we are. Number 2, Bakutech. This is not a secret. I didn't even bother withholding the fact that Bakutech was at the top of the list throughout the whole video. I did not care. Everyone knows Bakutech is the peak of Bakugan. Even if you like other seasons more, which is fair, quality-wise, Bakutech wins. They actually just cared about, what they were doing with this line, and every Bakugan was made to be much more unique. Even if it didn't have a unique gimmick, they all just had more unique color palettes. The color design was just better here, which is great. Even the ones that kind of didn't have crazy color palettes and just used more, default ones, they just looked better. The designs were great. Also, gimmick-wise, they had some of those in here, and they were cool. And, of course, the convert system. You could have plastic or metal pieces, or I guess in, Gallo's case, rubber pieces. You can swap them around. You had soul pieces, which acted as feet, and then cross pieces. These could be on anything. Arms, tails, wings, heads, whatever. Just put them wherever you want. And yeah, it just worked very well. It felt like they actually cared about making Bakugan, and it showed. They cared. It wasn't just throwing out whatever, putting it in a few different paint, colors of paint, and letting that be a day. Just letting that. Well, that was the worst phrasing. Oh my god. Anyway, they with Spin Master, they just kind of made a Bakugan pretty basic, nothing interesting about it. Made it a few attributes, called it a day. There we go. That's what I was trying to get at. My bad. I cannot talk today, at all. It's worse than usual. So, with Sega toys, each Bakugan was meant to kind of stand on its own. It wasn't just a wave of Bakugan, here you go, pick your favorite, some of them are going to be mid. No. Everything was made well. Even the Bakugan that were effectively just deck fillers were made to be pretty cool. Some of them, yeah, maybe weren't always the best, but they still had much more put into them than most things from Spin Master. And the best parts of Bakutech were just better than anything else. So yeah, Bakutech is obviously just phenomenal. So, with that said, what can even beat Bakutech at this point? Obviously it's amazing, so what's above it? Number 1, Bakutech Gachi. the second season of Bakutek. Yeah, the only thing that's beating Bakutek is Bakutek. That's all there is to it. This season, it was just better overall. Again, you had some like deck fillers, but they were all like really cool, honestly. You had Convert System Bakugan back here as well. That's cool. You also had the 36mm Bakugan, the kind of main Bakugan of the season. Some of these were not part of the Convert System or the Bind System. They just had gimmicks, and these gimmicks were very cool. Aside from that, yeah, there was the Bind System as well. Bakugan that split in half. Great. Each half generally had some kind of gimmick. You could mix gimmicks. How did this never come back? How did we never get another line like Bakutek? I guess there was Bakugan Armors after this, but I mean like reboot era. Like, why did we never pull more from this? They kind of did with Gen 3 and like the splitting thing, but that was horrid. I mean, the splitting itself was okay, but like, yeah, the Bakugan themselves were horrid, but compared to these anyway. But like, what I mean is like the quality. Why do we never get the quality back? Stop throwing out 20 Bakugan every couple months. Just focus on making a few Bakugan every few months. Make them good. That's what we want. We want good Bakugan. Yes, you have some filler stuff here and there. But my god, just make good stuff. That's what we want. And yeah, Bakugan Ganchi is, in my eyes, the peak of Bakugan. And with how Spin Master is, it will likely always be the peak of Bakugan. These Bakugan were all so dynamic and good. Everything here, all of the 36mm stuff, had so much thought put into it. And again, even the kind of deck filler 32mm stuff, they were all pretty solid. They were pretty cool. You had some good ones, like Goon Icarus. That one's kind of memorable to me. And it still stands up as one of the best Bakugan compared to anything else from, Legacy, the reboot, or Gen 3, whatever. Anything that's not Bakugan, it stands up as one of the best among them. And within Bakugan, it's still just kind of decent. And there's a lot of better things than it. And then, like on screen right now, I have Sanzu Halbos, my favorite Bakugan of all time. This is a Convert System Bakugan, and actually the only one to be a 36mm Convert System Bakugan. So, yeah, it's great. This thing is a really cool Bakugan. Why do we never get things like this? Bakutek Gachi is the peak of Bakugan, for sure, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So, there you have it. That's the number one pick for me, and it was not easy. It wasn't even close. This was an obvious choice for me. And that's it. The ranking video's done. This ended up just being me being mad at everything else not being as good as Bakutek, but can you blame me? Like, we see what Bakugan can do. We see what it can be. And Spin Master just refuses to budge on putting out garbage, and come on, just put a little bit more effort in. We get like Bakutek Gen 2. It'll be great. Trust me. Yeah. So that's the ranking video. Yeah, the legacy stuff is pretty good overall. Second gen, very mid. Third gen, abysmal. Bakutek is still the best part of Bakugan, without question. But I don't think anyone questioned that at all. I think everyone just knows that by now. But yeah, there you go. That's the ranking video. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your ranking if you want to, or at least like your favorite, least favorite, or again, just the entire thing if you want to. Feel free to also take liberties if you want to just have Mectanium Search as one thing in the comments. Do that. That's fine. But yeah, there you go. That's my ranking. So we'll see how this goes. Anyway, that's all for this video though. Why can I not talk today? It's especially bad, man. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.